This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, where we explore how to forge mental toughness and resilience in every aspect of life. Welcome, I'm your host, Coach Matt Toman. I'm an ICF certified professional coach with a background as a teacher, basketball coach, and athletic director. But my journey took a dramatic turn in 2020 when I survived both cancer and a stroke. Those experiences shaped my mission, help others grow stronger in every facet of life. Today, I work with athletes, coaches, educators, and anyone who believes that positive mental health is both achievable and a personal responsibility. This podcast is dedicated to helping listeners develop a positive version of toughness, one rooted in resilience, focus, and growth. Whether you're looking to excel on the field, in the classroom, or in life, this is your space to learn, grow, and take action. Join me on this journey, and together, let's forge your mettle. Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Toman, at Mental Mettle Coaching. All right, metalheads, here we go. This is the 138th episode of the Mental Mettle Podcast. And if you're keeping track at home, that means that the first episode was June 5th, 2023. And you do that every week for over 2 years, and that's how you get up to 138 episodes. It's really been just a real blessing for me, meeting so many different people. It's helped me grow. I know it's helped my business grow, and I really hope that it's helped others grow. And I just couldn't be happier with the product and how it's going. And I thank you so much, everybody that tunes in every week and likes and shares and subscribes on the YouTube channel. It's great. I'm really enjoying the podcast, and typically I have a lot of coaches on here and some athletes on here, different professionals. And today, and this isn't the first time I've done this, but this is probably the most direct example that I can come up with. I've got a competitor on here in the sense that we have businesses that are absolutely identical, close to identical anyway, as close as you can get. And we are both work with athletes online doing kind of the same things. And it's kind of strange to me because she reached out to me, and that's really cool too, right? Whenever the podcast is growing up enough that people online find it as a source of mental toughness in sports, and this podcast comes up and they reach me and want to talk to me and want to be on the podcast. And it would be easy for me to say, well, I'm not really going to get your own podcast. Like, this is to help me and grow my business. But to be honest, I've not done that just because it tells you it tells you a couple things when I'm going to let a competitor on the show. And that is, number one, first and foremost, how much I believe in the mission in helping young athletes develop mental toughness and using that mental toughness, and why it's just so important for help them become not just better athletes, but just better human beings and better, more well-rounded in adults when they grow up. And just the idea that we put so much effort and time and pressure on today's athletes, and we really spend a lot of money and energy on developing those game skills and developing that, getting them in the weight room, and those are all good things, and I talk about that, and we should do that, but we don't necessarily put the time and energy into the mental side of sports. We just assume it'll happen, and the more pressure we put on the athletes, the less likely that's going to happen on its own. It's just, when you stop and think about it, it makes sense. And we need to be putting more, as the adults, we need to be putting a little bit more stock and a little bit more responsibility on making sure that they are more mentally adjusted and mentally tough, and not just saying, oh, you need to be more mentally tough, but actually giving them tools and giving them space to do that just as much as we do the game skills and the physical skills. And that's the number one reason why I will almost always take a competitor on the show. Another reason is because it's great for me to talk to somebody and say, oh, how do you do this? Here's how I do this. Here's some of the things I do. We have book recommendations. We talk and we get a lot of good ideas out of it. And the other thing is, I'm going to be honest, I'm secure enough in my business right now, and it's going well enough that it's not like I don't still want new business, but I'm keeping fairly busy working with athletes, working with schools, working with coaches, and it's fantastic, and it's keeping me hopping, it's keeping me busy, that I have nothing to hurt by bringing in somebody else to talk about this, and somebody else who does this, because I think there needs to be more people doing my job with that mental performance coaching, and more like what my guest today, Morgan Brons, formerly Morgan Kane, of Winning Edge Coaching. She's got a great story, great personality, and obviously a great job. So I'm pretty excited about having her on the show. So join in. She's formerly played at Iowa State, won a Big 12 championship there for the basketball team. So she's not just a coach; she's an athlete, and just has some really cool insight on some of the things that she did wrong and wish she'd have known when she was coming up through sports, and how she's kind of rectifying that situation and help others. Great conversation. We'll talk about it a little bit on the other side, but for now, enjoy the interview. All right, let's go. It's the Mental Mettle Podcast here again. And I'm really excited about my guest today. As we talk about, the Mental Mettle Podcast is all about sports, but it's about the mental part of sports, and resilience, and just mindset. And not just that. And I know, Morgan, we're going to talk about this, about how it's so important for the entire sports. Like, if you want to be good at a sport, you need the mental just like the physical. And we're going to talk about all of that. But I'm going to do my best to introduce you here. If I get through any of this and I make a mistake, you just let me know. But so my guest today, Morgan Brons, formerly Morgan Kane, right? And played at Iowa State University from 2018 to 2023, started on the team that reached the Sweet 16 in 2022, clinched the 2023 Big 12 championship, earned an academic all Big 12 first team, and academic all district honors, got a degree in exercise science and a minor in nutrition, and then capped your playing career with that infamous COVID year, that extra fifth year, and went to the D2 school, Nova Southeastern University, and managed to make another Sweet 16 there, and earned your master's in sports science, and used all of that to found and now lead Winning Edge Coaching, which you've been doing now since April of 2025, so not quite a year, and all working with middle and high school athletes remotely on mindset, strength, recovery, nutrition, mentorship, and just helping them reach their potential on a bunch of different levels. And that means that you and I have a lot of overlap on the things that we do, which is really good. I just believe that I will take all day, bring people on the show that may or may not feel like competition, because I don't think there's enough people doing what we're doing that I'm not worried about at this point, and that's not my thing. I'm not going to worry about that. I think I think you and I together can have a conversation that we share out to people and have them get some awareness around the idea, and it'll help both of us. So that's a long introduction, and let me know if I got anything wrong, Morgan, but welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It was a good introduction, and I feel the same way. At the end of the day, power in numbers. The more people that we can get talking about the mental side of sports, the better off, because we're here for the athletes. We wanna help our athletes get better, and starts with talking about it. So I'm excited to be on this podcast.
It is. It's great. You got your own swag there. That's pretty sweet.
I do.
You know, I'm going to tell you. So this is silly. I'm sure I never have too far away in much stuff, but like like anybody could go do it. But the second you show up with seeing your own swag of the company that you put together and you're wearing the shirt, you're like, I kind of feel it's like, this feels legit, right?
Definitely makes it feel a little bit like you just level up. When you put on your shirt with your logo, you're like, okay, here we go.
It's kind of like that first time when somebody gives you a basketball jersey, right? And you're standing in front of the mirror looking at it, and you're like, yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, you have some pride when you wear it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's for sure. Well, thank you.
Morgan, let's start with your background, and let's start talking about where you came from, how you got where you are, some of your sports background and just your life background, and let's run through that a little bit.
Yeah. How much time do we have? No,
I mean, I'll shut you down if we need to, but I think we're good. I don't think we need to go into like, I think maybe high school we could start there. We don't need to go into like, some sort of program you did in third grade that but hey, if it's applicable, go for it.
There you go. Well, a little bit about me. So born and raised in the Salt Lake City area in Utah, played basketball there and got a scholarship playing at Iowa State, obviously on the women's basketball team. My freshman year at Iowa State, I ended up redshirting. So not for any injury, just there were a lot of girls in my position as a post player, and the coaches kind of sat me down and said, "Hey, you're not going to get minutes," Yeah. And in the moment I was like, that took a hit on my ego of like, I suck. I'm not even good enough to be playing. Kind of some imposter syndrome, and we can get into that. But I ended up redshirting and just learned the game. I developed an IQ for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because you go from, my son went through that. You get recruited and they're like, "Oh, you're awesome. We love you. We want to do it." And then you get to campus and a few months later they're like, "Oh, but we don't need you right now. If you could go ahead and go sit over there and just and cheer everybody along for a year," you're kind of like, okay, it's a hit to the ego, right?
Yeah. You go from being like the best player in high school to going to college still feeling good about yourself, and then these big seniors just beat up on you like you're a dog chew toy, and you're like, "Oh, that was great. I love that."
Yeah. It's what did you pick up from, like, that's how you felt at first? Like, run me through that first year of redshirting and how that went.
Yeah, so the team, you have to show up in the summer, so it's like summer training, and that's just a time for you to get to know the other players. The coaches get to know you a little better because you're just diving headfirst into a very well-developed program, and it's like, figure it out. And so I did the summer workouts, just trying my best, try sink or swim. And it was like, I got to give everything I have. That's all I can do. That's all I can control. Ended up deciding to redshirt based off of my coaches and having those conversations with my family. And at first, disappointing. Of like, man, I just want to play basketball. I want to get in a game. Like, that'd be awesome. But then I kind of had to shift my mindset, shift my focus of, okay, you have been given a year where you don't lose your eligibility.
Mhm.
You still get to travel with the team. You get to be on the scout team, so you're playing against these girls every day. You're learning the plays, and I just had to find all the good things that was going on with it. I developed an awesome relationship with my strength coach, and that kind of sparked my interest in strength training and nutrition and mindset, just all those components of what you do off the court impacts what you do on the court. And so I got stronger and I got faster, and I did extra workouts with the coaches, and I just tried to maximize my time. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when you say you decided to redshirt. Well, I mean, if a coach says, "Hey, we need you to redshirt," it's really kind of like I don't know how else you decide anything
Yeah.
else, right? It's like, oh, like there's no reason you want to use your eligibility, and like that scout team. What's a really interesting thing about scout team? If you know your scout team for a year, I feel like that takes some pressure off, and you can just go do,
Yeah.
like. It's a conversation I had with my son when he redshirted, and I asked him how scout team was going, and he said, I get to be the best player on the other team like every night. And he said,
Mhm.
there was no pressure. He's like, I could just fire. Right. And he was like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to get in trouble for that, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Totally. You especially when like you're in season, you're playing another girl on another team. You're replicating her game of she only goes right, or she only drives, or whatever that is. And so you learn a lot about it, and you're right of like there's no pressure. It's like just do your best. And yeah, you can pull that shot, and just a lot of learning from it. The scout team at Iowa State was uh, male college students at Iowa State.
Okay.
So it was like a couple of the guys and then me and another red shirt. And so even playing with those guys, being on the same team, that game and that pace is extra fast. And so you learn by fire of like you just got to keep up, keep going.
Yeah. No, I mean, and clearly we're talking about how you had a really good career. So it helped, or it worked.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah, definitely. It in the long run, I look back and I think I really needed that, and I didn't acknowledge it and see it at the time, but I'm just like, thank goodness I found the positive. I found the good things in that year, because I think if I would have just kind of been in a mopey, this sucks, that would have taken me in a completely different trajectory. And
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I was just talking to a kid earlier. It's like it's not so much, well, and you know this, working with kids and doing all the it's really not the things that happen to me. It's how we react to those things that happen to us that make
yes.
the difference. And
Hmm.
that is, I don't care how cheesy anybody thinks that sounds. That's the God's honest truth.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And the sooner you start to realize that, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah. Well, you're not as in control as you want to be with a lot of things. So you might as well just figure out how we're going to react to everything.
Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So like a really cool career playing, getting to the Sweet 16 a couple times, winning a Big 12 championships,
Yeah.
right? Like just run me through some of the highs and lows from just that journey when you actually started playing.
Yeah. It was a journey. That's for sure. I really had to fight my way to the top, or work my way to the top. So, going into like my next year of finally I have some eligibility, I still have two post players ahead of me that have a couple of years of experience. And when I just like trying to take advantage of literally any opportunity that's given, even if that's like 2 minutes at the end of the game, or finding opportunities to get extra reps, extra sets, because if you're not playing 20 minutes of a game, you're not
Mm-hmm.
seeing the court a lot, you're not getting those reps, so how are you going to get better? um and a big part of why I do like I'm super focused on mindset and helping high school athletes like work on their mindset, because I didn't have those conversations until I was maybe a sophomore, junior, senior in college. And so I didn't know how to kind of work through my mindset and my self-talk, and how can I work through mistakes, or my coach is giving me a lot of pressure. How can I handle this? And
Mm-hmm.
so that first year of playing, I look back and I'm like, man, I was so in my head, just fear of failure, fear of making a mistake, to the point of like, I didn't really want the ball because I didn't want to make a mistake.
Right. Your athlete probably spends hours working on the specific skill set they need for their sport. And they probably spend hours in the weight room building their body. But how much time do they spend intentionally training their mind? Well, building mindset is the key to bridging the gap between the skills that we see and game execution. Well, Mental Mettle Coaching provides individual programs that can help your athlete develop this third and crucial skill set.
Kind of like, I didn't really want the ball because I didn't want to make a mistake.
Right.
I wasn't thinking about like, oh, you're a good player, you deserve to be here. It was like, I don't want to mess up. So
where's you mentioned it's almost like you can almost see a little bit of a delineation, but like before you thought that way, and after you thought that way. But I'm curious, like what prompted that? Like, how did that happen? Because I don't always think it happens on your own. Like, you have somebody else kind of like prompt it or help you out.
Yeah, I sought out resources through Iowa State University, and I kind of sought those out myself because, like talks with my parents, I was like, I need help. I don't know what to do. Something needs to change, or I'm just digging myself deeper in this mental hole of doubt and worry. And so I found some awesome resources at Iowa State that were able to help walk me through this, or like, this is okay to be feeling this way. Let's try this, or here's a strategy, or have you thought about like journaling, getting out all those thoughts, or like strategies during the game. And so I was able to get equipped with some tools, and I'm not going to say it helped overnight because it didn't.
No, I wouldn't believe you. I would not believe you if you told me it did, because I know it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I was still learning through my senior year. I'm still learning now, but through my college career, I was still figuring out what worked for me or what didn't work for me. And that was it was an amazing process, but it was long and it was hard, and it was kind of navigating through the weeds at times, and able through all these experiences and kind of trial and error working with my team, I was able to have these awesome experiences where I got to start for my team, and I got to be a main contributor, and I found my role. I found where I thrive and what my team needed of me. Like you said earlier, I control my controllables.
Yeah.
I can do what I can do, and I got to be good with me at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's interesting. In no way, shape, or form am I trying to put an indictment onto like Iowa State here, but because I think that they are a lot like a lot of the programs and the way we handle athletes. The fact that you had to go seek out those resources on your own because you didn't have to do that, right? I think that, and we're just talking, I mean, you were there 2018 to 22. Like, it's not been that long ago. It's what you and I talked about, how I think there needs to be a little bit more awareness on this has to be something that is like, I think institutions, high schools and colleges need to be a little bit more proactive on this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely agree. And, kudos to Iowa State. I can't speak for other programs, but I think it was the start of my senior year, they hired a sports psychologist.
There you go. See, it's already changed. It's starting to change, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely already starting to change. But that transition, at least from my experience, was during my collegiate years. And that's an amazing resource that the university still has. And she's just for athletes, like no one else. And I think that's awesome, but that wasn't there at the beginning. And so I would agree with you. Like, things are moving in the right direction.
Did that happen after COVID?
Yes.
So it's interesting. I do think that COVID exacerbated the problem. I don't doubt, but I think the problem was there beforehand. But but everybody was like, "Oh, this COVID's going to make everything so much worse," and then they started looking for it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's there," and I'm like, "It was already there. You just weren't like maybe it's worse, but I do think if there was one bright side out of the COVID, I think maybe it's kind of prompted people to take care of that a little bit. And like you said, institutions will start to hire a sports psychologist or a mental coach or somebody for their athletes. And I think that's a good thing.
Totally. It's definitely moving in that direction. And when I went to that D2 school in Florida, it was a little different. Their resources looked very different than what Iowa State looked like. And so it's just kind of navigating what institutions have to offer, where are they at in that process. Definitely the D2 school I went to, they talked about it, but it just looked a little differently.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of coaches and programs that talk about it. But I was telling a coach the other day that I was like, he's like, well, we talk about it. And I said, and he goes, but sometimes that we talk about it, it doesn't go very well. We have these mental things. It doesn't go very well. I can't tell if the kids are taken serious, and we kind of quit doing it. And I'm like, I said, okay, like if you put in a new defense, or you just say, hey, we're going to practice shell drill, right? How often do you practice shell drill? He's like, oh, it's every day. He's like, we have to. And I'm like, okay, well, this is no different, right? The first time you put something in new, it's not going to go well. And and it's silly for you to expect it. And it's silly for you to expect results after day one. It's the same as anything else. You go to the practice every day, you go to the weight room every day, you should be doing some mental exercise and mental training every day if that's what you want to see.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting that you just don't think about it of like,
no.
Oh, I should do it once and like, I'm good, I'm ready to go.
There's no other skill set that we believe that. Right? There's no other skill set that we believe that, but yet for some reason, when it comes to the mental, they're like, oh, I had a good conversation. Okay. Like that's yeah.
And it's like, and then what? Continue it. Continue that conversation, or have actionable items that we can put in place and work towards. And like, don't make it this big thing. I like to tell athletes, like, we gotta have one thing to focus on, or one thing that we gotta try and implement or work on. Because if we just have a conversation once a week for 30 minutes, like, where's the action? Where's the initiative? It's like, you got to make it more than just, we talked about it. It was cool.
Well, the way I phrase it is whenever I have a session with you, I can help you get the recognition and I can help you develop the repetition, but you have to do the repetition, right? We need the recognition and we need the repetition. That's how we change anything. But unless you're going to have me follow you around or meet with you every day for 10 minutes to do this, you're not doing it like you should. And it needs to be part of you got to build a habit around it. And that's hard to do. Any new habit is hard to build, but that's the whole point. You get that recognition, then you got to have the repetition if we want to actually make change.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So walk me through the decision to start doing what you do now. Maybe we should start with what it is you do now exactly. Give me a good foundation on that and how all that fleshed out.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, I'll talk about how it came to be first. So, after I finished my collegiate career, I knew that once college basketball was done, I was done with basketball. Like, hung up the shoes. We're done on the court. But did some reflection of just thinking about, I played college basketball for 6 years. I used every year I could. But just looking back of, what did I have? What did I not have? What went well? What didn't go well? Like reflecting after any chapter that closes. Like, you gotta take a look in the mirror. And I missed athletes. I missed being around that athlete atmosphere. It's kind of addictive, and I feel like you would probably say the same.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, when I left college, I went into the business world and was working at just a boring old laboratory for like 8 years. And then I was like, I got to get out of here. And
Yeah.
I went and got my teaching degree and then started teaching and coaching. And then it's like, man, there's just a vibe around athletics and being around young people and trying to get better about stuff is just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah. It's just this energy that everyone's thriving off of like, you're working towards your goal. Just keep going, you know? But anyway, kind of looking back at that, wanted to work with athletes and looked at my mindset training of how much I learned in college and coupled that with my master's degree in sports science. We dove heavy into the psychology, like the mental side of sports. And I just ate that up. I found that so interesting.
Oh yeah.
You know, experience and education. We coupled that together and I was like, I love doing this. This is definitely a passion of mine. And I didn't have those mental resources in high school. And so similar to you, I just want to start those conversations. I want to work with athletes and have those conversations and have those tools. And I tell a lot of people that, like, yes, this is for your sport, but this is also like for you as a person. This is for you in school, you as an athlete, you as you continue to grow up in whatever you do. Like, this can apply to everything.
Yeah. Well, confidence, like things like confidence and momentum that we build, like they don't stay in their lane, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's good and bad, right? Like whenever we start to lose confidence in one area, we lose it in other areas. And when we gain confidence and we gain momentum in one area and growth in one area, it inspires us to keep that in those other lanes. It's like, it doesn't work in a vacuum. Like it's just like, it affects everything.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So that's why I started Winning Edge Coaching. And like you said, it's still in its infancy, but I'm learning and growing a lot. I'm working with athletes that are learning and growing and providing that mentorship of, hey, I've lived this. Like, I know a little bit, but also I know the research and the education behind it. And then using my nutrition background of, I'm not a registered dietitian, and I'll be the first one to say that, but let's learn how to fuel before a game, or what should we be eating after a game, or carbs are good energy, or we need to have some good fats. And so just like education around that mindset, and then strength training to have some recovery. And I like to say I'm here to like help you fill the buckets you need to fill. So like some high school strength programs are top notch. Like they're amazing. And so it's like, okay, cool. You have that bucket filled, but how's our nutrition? Are we fueling ourselves right? Or how's our mindset? And so meeting an athlete where they're at and kind of, where can I pour into you for help you to grow?
It's interesting because I go to a lot of schools now, and when you go in and you start to go to different schools, I've worked at a couple different schools, and you start to think, oh, other places are all like this, right? And then you go into other schools and stuff, and it's like, oh, not all their strength programs are the same, and not all their mindsets are the same, and how the culture around what we eat and how we do these things. It's like, it's so different for every kid, and not just for every program, but every kid and what their parents are like and what their situation is. Like every kid is so different. And when you talk about filling those buckets, it's every kid's so different, but every one of them has stuff they can work on too. That's the best part.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you go about working with kind of like focusing on individual buckets when talking to a group setting, when you're in a high school with a bunch of kids? How do you make that more individualized?
Yeah, I agree. And you can do that. I mean, but there has to be, I think anytime we're coaching a kid or even an athlete or a college age kid or whatever, coaching requires some self-reflection on the individual. Right. So I've started almost every time I work with somebody now, and I tell the parents this, I said, I've been doing this for 4.5 years now. I don't want to be arrogant, but I've had a lot of success. I know the tools. I know the research. I know the process works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I take all blame away from me, but I can guarantee you that if your kid or your athletes or you don't want to do this, I can't overcome that. Right? There has to be coached at anything. The individual has to be like, yeah, I have some areas I'd like to get better at. Help me with that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you run into an individual that's like that doesn't want to do that, you really can't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to change that. They need knocked down a little bit first.
Yeah, that's the first part of anything is you got to do some reflection. You got to look in the mirror, see where you're at, and have that desire to say, I'm not the best, and I can get better. It's kind of
well, it's a cool place to. I always say that's a cool place to live. Is to be like. We have to be happy with ourselves, and we have to be like, hey, I like myself. I'm confident in myself, but then also say nobody's perfect and I could get better. And that's this like, that's this thin line sometimes.
I was just going to say that. Isn't that a fine line?
It really is. Right. But you have to, but that's the line we have to walk, all of us, because you just can't. You can't just say I'm awesome all the time and not change anything, because that's no good. And you can't just beat yourself up all the time and say you're terrible, because then you're never going to get better at anything. It's that fine line you got to walk. Yeah. And that's what I love helping kids walk and do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I was working with a group of, and you can maybe speak to this, you'll like this, but it was a group of high school girls basketball team. And I did an exercise. It's a similar exercise that I took from The Confident Mind, doing the top 10 list.
Great book.
And it's a great book. Phenomenal. And I had them just in this session write down the top 5 list, their own top 5 list. And before we even went through it, I said, how many of you felt that writing down your top 5 achievements or top 5 things you're best at, how many of you felt that was difficult and or awkward? And every single hand went up. And I said, but how many of you would have no problem writing down the things that you struggle at? And they're like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, we have to change that. We have to switch that. We have to switch that for athletes. And for a lot of them, it's the females that I think that really struggle with that sometimes. You can speak to that a whole lot better than me.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you too. I don't know. I feel like women, girls beat themselves up more, or it's just like the everything is just heightened to like focusing on those negatives. Maybe with boys, with guys, it's kind of like they just ignore it. It's like, we're not. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, and that's a whole nother problem all of its own. but we'll talk about we'll finish this conversation, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but I would agree with you with girls of like, it was so easy to say all 10 things I did wrong instead of like 10 things that I did good. And first of all, I love The Confident Mind.
It's just
book is amazing.
There's so many it's so many useful tools I pull from there too.
Yeah, I like to listen to audiobooks because I drive a lot. And so I'm listening to it a second time because I'm like, there are so many just nuggets of information. I can pull more out of this.
Yes.
But
I did the same thing. Just listening to it. And my son and I read it together, and we talk about it all the time because it's very useful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But
so what other working on that confidence and working on getting athletes to, I say confidence is about evidence, and it's about focusing on the right evidence, right? And that's kind of what The Confident Mind is talking about. It's like we've all had enough success to prove that we can fail, and we've all had enough success, or you know what I mean? We've all had enough situations where we failed to believe that we can't do it, and we've all had enough situations where we succeed to believe that we can do the next thing. It's deciding what to focus on. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about the confidence. But I'm just trying, what else is a topic of conversation that you really lean into when working with an athlete from the mental side?
Well, when I kind of piggybacking off of you with like that confident mind, writing down your top 10, I like to, well, I'm thinking of like after games, like write down the 3 good things you did in the game. Like acknowledge the good things you did, because it's going to be really easy to say, well, I missed my layup and I didn't communicate on the screen or whatever. And so like from the very beginning, like start with the good. Start with what you did good. But I think paired with that is like the self-talk. What we say in our head. I like, everyone has an internal voice that you're talking to yourself all day. And when I talk to young kids about, like younger athletes about this, they're like, really? I'm like, oh yeah. Like you're always talking to yourself.
When they say really, are they saying that because they don't believe, because they don't hear it, or they don't think everybody does it?
I think they just don't acknowledge that you're always talking to yourself. I just think it's like, oh, that's just, I don't know, it's normal. It's kind of a part of you. And so you don't kind of separate that as, oh, I'm having a conversation with myself, or I'm talking through what I'm going to do or what I'm about to do. It's just, I think it's more like recognition of like, oh yeah, that voice is like always talking.
Yeah. I find, I mean, I did this, I was working with a group of coaches, and we started doing an exercise on voice, and they had to go around the room and talk about the voice of way they talk to themselves. And I had a guy, 45-year-old man who was an AD at a school, and he said, this is the first time I realized that other people do this as well, and it's not just me.
What?
I know. And I'm just like, that's powerful, right? To think, in finding out that, oh, this is a thing that everybody struggles with. We all have to kind of handle that. And I just thought, and maybe he kind of realized it, but he just didn't know it to that level.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's,
and I think,
there's a lot of power in that knowing that I'm not like, other people do this too.
Yeah. And I think the second step of that is like, what's the tone? What are you saying to yourself? Like, how are we talking to ourselves? And a lot of the times it's like, I suck, or I'm not very good at this, or my coach thinks I'm bad at this, or like, it's just all kind of negative.
Yeah.
Or like, just like attacking yourself, getting down on yourself. And that's a part of like, okay, we want to get better, but like, how can we shift that? Because you're essentially like competing with yourself now. You
are not only that, the question I love to ask and kind of bring up the things that you're saying to yourself. How would you say that to a teammate?
Yes.
And that is, you will see light bulbs go on, and they were like they realize that is a terrible idea, and they can tell me the reasons why they would never say that to a teammate. And like, oh, it'll tear them down. It's rude. It's not, and they know all the reasons, and we're just like, okay. And they're like, yeah, I know, it does it to me too. And it's like, it doesn't do any difference.
Yeah.
Internally than it does externally.
Yeah. You're just competing with yourself.
It's so, and I like to joke that like none of what we talk about here and the things that I do, I don't think that it's not complicated. It's not like rocket science. It's a little bit of recognition and really trying to figure out and use it. Because I do think a lot of the stuff out there has become white noise. Like when we talk about control the controllables and things like that.
Yeah.
Kids say that, but they don't really know what that means.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or why that's so important and why it's so detrimental to focus on the things you can't control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I recently went to a tournament, and I would agree with you that it kind of those key phrases become white noise of like, lock in, boys, let's go, or stay focused, or control the controllables, and coaches are just yelling this left and right, and it's like, okay, but do we know how to do that? Because it's just becoming a phrase, and it's like, yeah, that sounds really good to say, but what does that mean? What is
Parents, is your athlete ready for the upcoming sports season? They might have the strength, the speed, and the skills, but without confidence, they can still struggle when the game is online. Skill and strength are great, they're necessary, but they're not used to their full potential without the right mentality. Confidence is key. It's the key to unlocking that full potential. And at Mental Mettle Coaching, I offer personalized sessions designed to build the confidence your athlete needs for a successful season. My proven techniques empower them to perform under pressure, both on the field and in life. Don't let a lack of confidence hold them back. Book a free session today and discover the power of confidence. Visit the website, get started on the journey to a more confident, successful athlete with Mental Mettle Coaching.
And it's like, yeah, that sounds really good to say, but what does that mean? What does it mean? And like, how can we like break this down into something simpler? Because it's like, if you tell an athlete, like, come on, man, like, be confident. Okay.
What does that mean? Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. And I think that's, I run a lot of my programs off of ideas like that. Like, it's like, so when somebody's working with me, when they get done and we say, it's not just control the controllables, it's what's your specific controllables? What do you think you need to control the most? Oh, well, I struggle with this, so I know I need to control this.
Yeah.
And it means something then. And a lot of times I have them, they end up writing it on a baseball or a basketball or whatever. So then that kid that, like, they go to get some shots up and it's written the things that they know they need to control. Yeah. And it's just, that's how we pull it in. That's how we turn it into a repetition or to a daily thing that actually makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Give it a name.
Yeah,
give it
absolutely.
a name. Give your fear a name. Give your controllables a name. Write it down. I love like encouraging people to journal. Write it down. That was one thing as a college athlete my junior and senior year. Journaling just seemed to work for me. If I could just write it down. I did, like, I had some journaling things that I wrote before games. If I was able to journal after a game or like reread those and just like write it down, like give it a name, give it a home. And if it's like a little brain dump of like all your frustrations, great. Close the book. We're done thinking about that, or throw it away. Sometimes we just need to get it out of our head or get it on a piece of paper or give it a place.
Well, I think when we do something like rumination, where we're just thinking one thought to the next, it can feel like we never even finish one thought before the next thought comes in. And when we have to take that and write it out, you finish a sentence, you go to the next thought, you go to the next thought, and you take fears and worries to their logical conclusion and realize, oh, well, I shouldn't be worried about that. Where if you don't do that you don't do that in your head, and you feel the anxiety and you feel and you feel the emotion and you get tense, your shoulders get tight, you get hot, you get angry. That learning how that embodiment and how your thoughts affect your body is like, I think that the journaling can help relieve that a lot.
Yeah. Being intentional. And like you said, slowing it down. And like, okay, what are we actually thinking or talking about or working through or focusing on? Having that intentional, purposeful moment.
Yeah, I agree. Intention and purpose when working on mindset. And that's what we didn't do before, right? So again, it was like, oh, yeah. I mean, for years, people would say, oh, you need to have the right mindset. But they would say just have the right mindset, but didn't have intention or purpose on how to develop it.
Yeah.
Even so much so as I think there's a lot of old school coaches and people and things like that that think you can't develop it, that it's just you kind of are what you are.
You are or you aren't.
Yeah, which is that irks me more than anything that you hear some coaches say is like, that kid's not tough. I don't want him on my team. Well, help him.
Yeah.
Right? Like help him.
Give him a roadmap. Let's work through it. And it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to have some conversations with yourself, with someone you're working with. Like, like, have you ever had athletes giggling?
Yeah.
Working through like visualization.
Yes.
Yeah.
They get over it. They'll be fine.
Yeah. It's like,
I know.
Push through.
I know. I agree. And they'll find that they have to find the benefit, and then they'll take it more serious, I think. So
yeah, you kind of have to have some accountability.
Yeah.
Of like a buy-in.
I agree.
In anything you do, you have to like, you either are bought in or you're not, and you go a different direction.
Yeah.
But it's
all right. So Morgan, tell me, I want to make sure we get this out here. Your winning edge coaching. Tell me about, what your perfect client is, or what kind of clients you're looking for, and what you see as the vision of your company.
Yeah. So high school athletes, young athletes that wanna grow and develop and be the best that they can be, and whatever that looks like. In setting those goals, wanting to just like we just said, buy in, and wanting to know more about it, and being curious and inquisitive, and being open to have these conversations, to try new things, to get a little uncomfortable in visualization or talking about identity or whatever that is, wherever this athlete's at, is I think is a dream client.
Yeah, I agree. The one that really the one that you want to work with is the one that wants to work with you, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
And not just because mom and dad said work with this person.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, it's fantastic. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, have you ever read the book The Slight Edge?
I have not.
Okay, put it on your list.
Okay.
So The Slight Edge is a big part of why I named my business Winning Edge. So essentially, I'm not going to give away the whole book, but
that's fine.
It talks about daily habits that you do regularly, small little things you do regularly, and on like a graph, a line, if you do one thing regularly, you're eventually going to have a slight edge that's going in the direction you want it to go. Or you can choose to not have those either do habits that aren't great for you, or not do the good habits for you. Not do the things that you know you should be doing, or things that you know are going to push you into the right direction. And so you can either have that slight edge, and you're not going to see it immediately, but over time it's going to compound, and you're going to see the benefits from it. Or we can go in the negative direction, where we stop utilizing our resources, or visualizing, or working on our mindset through journaling, or whatever that is. There's so many ways that can go. But I love that book, and something that I try and work towards in my own personal life, of like, what are a few consistent, regular things that you can do to, down the line, become your best self, reach your goals that you want to reach. And I love in this book, it's not going to happen overnight. Like, It is going to take a long time. And something that I'm like, in my own life, I can look back and say, wow, that was awesome, is my collegiate career. It took some time, but I was able to get to a point where I kind of reached a goal of mine. I really wanted to start. That was my goal. I wanted to start in college. And I look back and I'm not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes, but trying to kind of compound those wins, finding
Mm-hmm.
those wins, not getting bogged down by all those losses, or being consistent, or finding your role, just going in that right direction. And that's just one example of
Yeah.
my own personal experience.
I don't think there's a such thing as big steps. I think there's a lot of
No.
little steps that get us to big steps.
Yeah.
We want the big steps. That's the ones that get us the trophies, and that's the
Wouldn't that
ones
be
that
nice? Just one big step.
it would, but it just isn't, and it's and that can be really boring and tedious, but that's the way it works, and that's yeah, but that's what you have to have a little patience on that. So
Yeah.
man, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
You and I are we speak the same language, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. You give such great you cover a lot of great topics on your podcast, and that's why I was excited to be on your podcast. And I just hope that athletes are listening, or parents are listening, and showing this message to athletes, to just to learn, to grow, learn one thing, take one nugget, keep moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. That's the goal, and I think that hopefully we've done justice here today, kind of putting the idea out there that we need to do this, and I know you'll keep sharing the idea, so will I. But hey, before we go, the last question I always ask is, what did I not ask you that I should have? That way, if we didn't talk about it, Morgan, it's your fault. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I think I'm passionate about. I like everything, but talking about identity. That's
why.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the question I'm going to ask you. Why are you so passionate about identity when it comes to athletes?
Yeah, it's knowing your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you get up for a 6 a.m. lift? Or why are you going to practice 3 times a week, or practicing on your own after school? Like, knowing your why is a big part of what's going to drive you forward and push you towards moving forward, of knowing what, like, kind of what you are as an athlete, but also what are you outside of athletics too.
I think that's the important part.
Yeah.
Because everybody stops playing, and for some it's very abruptly.
Yeah.
Right, with injuries and things like that. And there's some struggles there. Or when you're not living up to the expectations that others put on you, and that is your identity, it's a real struggle for some athletes. To some, quite honestly, Morgan, some to quite disastrous consequences.
Detrimental.
Just really bad.
Yeah.
And I think having an identity beyond the sport is so useful.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what are you beyond your sport? Who are you? What makes
and
you
that
you?
Is,
and yeah.
If we hit a couple things here today when we were talking about, you talked about when we talk about identity right now, and we talk about finding the positives after a game. I think that is one thing that some parents, not to throw them under the bus here, that mess up, and that really could help their kid more than anything is, yes, you're going to get them to practice. You want them to do well, but you have to have conversations and an identity with them that goes beyond the sport. And those conversations right after the game on the car ride home need to be more positive than negative. Like substantially more the positive than negative.
Yeah.
Right. I could give you another book recommendation too, but it's like it needs to be more like 5-1 positive to negative.
Yeah.
And most car rides home aren't that.
Yeah. And it's just kind of, it's not doing as much good as I think is
No.
thought of to do. Like they're
Well, it's
already
doing
hearing
more
that
harm than they think.
from their
Yeah.
coach. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I meant. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Well, no,
oh,
but no, when we do it, we think it's doing help. It's helpful.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, they're already beating themselves up, or their coaches are their coaches coach.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got to kind of have that identity of outside of it.
Those two things, man, are I think
Yeah.
parents more than anything can help them with. So,
Yeah.
Morgan, it's fantastic. It's been so great talking to you. I really appreciate the conversation, and
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been wonderful.
Awesome. Welcome to Mental Mettle Coaching, where our mission is to help you learn to thrive in the face of adversity, not just survive it. We are passionate about empowering you to live, play, and work with a resilient and spirited mindset. Hi, I'm Matt Toman. I'm an ICF professional coach and keynote speaker. My background as an athlete, basketball coach, teacher, and school administrator has equipped me with the insights that resonate deeply with the schools, teams, athletes, and coaches I work with. However, it's my personal journey through anxiety, cancer, and an ischemic stroke in 2020 that truly brings authenticity to my presentations. While learning to speak and write again, I also pursued and earned my ICF coaching certification. Now the practices I embrace are more than theoretical concepts. They're a way of life. Developing a positive mindset is within reach for all, but it requires self-awareness and the repetition of intentional activities. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we'll guide you, your staff, and your students on this transformative journey. Together, let's forge your mettle. Hopefully that didn't get too much in the weeds there with the coaching, but there was some really good stuff there that I really enjoyed talking about. Just it really kind of solidifies to me some of the things that I'm doing. And when we just like start having a conversation, a coach and I, and we start talking about we're doing some of the same things and having the same results, it really kind of solidifies my position that the stuff that I'm doing is working and it's helping. I already see that with the athletes that I work on, but whenever I work with somebody else, she's doing the same thing and she sees success in it. And just the idea of things like confidence and voice and things that we know as coaches, as parents, and as former athletes that we know are so important. They're such a big part of the game, but they weren't necessarily things that we talked about developing, just things that we said needed to be done. And that just wasn't enough. And I know it's not enough anymore, at least not for every athlete. Some athletes are better at it than others, just like some can jump higher and some can run faster and some can shoot better. Like some athletes are okay with it and some need some help on it. And to be able to talk to her about how she's doing some of the stuff that I'm doing on confidence and voice and just, it's a pretty cool thing to talk about. I also really mean what I say, that I do think the tide is changing and we're starting to get more resources out there for athletes. She only graduated in 22, 23, and she was at a big university and had to go and take it upon herself to go find resources because she knew she needed help. And that is, look, not every kid does that. Not every athlete. And I say kid because she was in her 20s at that point. Not everybody does that. Not everybody says, hey, I could be better mentally and I'm struggling mentally and I know I'm not being my best. I need to go find some resources and ask for help. You'll hear me, if you listen to this podcast at all for very long, you're going to hear me talk about the importance of being vulnerable. And I think that's what she did. She realized she needed to be a little bit vulnerable, say, hey, I need some help, get the resources. And then when she got the resources, she just rolled and did kind of what I did and found her way to be vulnerable and then realized how useful it was and then used her degree and all her training and her master's and then learned how to be a coach. And now she uses it. It's a great story. And I love seeing people doing that. And I love that that it's changing and that more and more people are available. there's more coaches out there, more programs are hiring psychologists, coaches to help kids with the mental side of sports. And if the reason they're doing it is because they want to win games, so be it. That's fine. I'm all for that. But I think that ultimately you have to have a coach and a program that wants what's best for their athletes first in order to make that change. I think once they make that change, they'll see that this mental training is really helpful for the athletes and for winning the games. I don't think that those are like separate things. I think I know it really helps and can change a lot. So really excited that that's changing, and really excited to be a part of that movement. Like I said, she found me on her own, and just having this show, that just being a free resource out there for parents, for athletes, for coaches, on ways to find tools to work on mental toughness in their athletes. And so I'll share all of Morgan's stuff and some of her social media files and links in the show notes. So check her out. It's good stuff. And as always, I'm really pretty busy going around working with schools, working with coaches, working with educators, and putting this stuff into schools, so it's part of their system and it's part of what they do. I think that's I obviously have a lot of luck working with individuals, but when I can make it more of a systemic thing and change it in a school culture, man, that's really useful. And that's what I enjoy doing it. And that's what I'm busy doing right now and loving every minute of it. So just really excited about the growth of the mental training and mental performance coaching, and how it can really help athletes and kind of just hopefully help with the overall mental health of individuals. And I can't help everyone, but I love helping who I can. So it's just a great conversation, great episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me. Do not forget, if you like this episode, share it with somebody. Like, share, subscribe. It really helps the algorithm and helps the idea. If you agree with what I'm doing, and if you agree with what Morgan is talking about, help me out. Help us out. Like, share it with somebody, a parent, a coach that has kind of talked about this and you think they could help them. I get stuff like that at all. Parents reach out to me and say, hey, talk to this coach. They really need some help with this. And then once I get in there, man, we have a good time really helping them out. And it's good stuff. So see where you can help, and like and share where you can. And thank you so much. But for now, this has been the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Toman, and always remember to forge your metal. Thanks for listening to the Mental Mettle Podcast. Don't forget to tune in every week for more insights and strategies to help you forge mental toughness and resilience. This podcast is brought to you by Mental Mettle Coaching, where we are driven by a passion for sharing knowledge and experience that empowers others to play, live, and grow with confidence. Our mission is to instill a resilient and spirited mindset in our clients, enabling them to confidently face adversity and actively seek new challenges for personal growth. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we offer individual coaching, group coaching, and professional development for schools and businesses. Whether you're an athlete, educator, or professional, we're here to help you unlock your potential and thrive in every area of life. Until next time, keep growing, stay resilient, and always remember to forge your metal.